Okay. Happy Tuesday. Definitely these days, sometimes knowing what day of the week it is a little hard, but I'm pretty certain it's Tuesday since we've all managed to make it here at the same time. So welcome if there's anyone watching out there that I have not met. My name is Rachel. This is Yoga Basics. So we're just going to kind of get a nice, good overall stretch as a couple of us were discussing right before class. This has been maybe a time where we're all doing a lot of screen time. There might be a lot of this action kind of going on. So we'll try to just open everything up, get some stuff moving. So we'll start in my favorite place to start, in just a nice comfortable seat that can be on the ground. I've also got a block with me. If you have a block, great. You can also just use a pillow, anything else you might have to sit onto. And a block, you can also use just like a box or a hard water bottle or anything to work as a block. So finding that nice comfortable seat, shoulders melting down, spine stretches tall. Allow your eyes to close here. Just begin to breathe in and out. At the beginning of class, whenever I'm doing a home practice, I always like to kind of just take a moment at the beginning to acknowledge all the things around me that are potential distractions. Might be your cell phone, maybe pets. For me, it might be dust underneath furniture. Just acknowledging all those distractions that might be there, and then bringing them into a soft focus. When those distractions start to arise, just reminding yourself to come back to this place. During these times when emotions might kind of change quickly or drastically up and down, just knowing that you have the tools to come back to this space always, to come back to this breath, can be really empowering. From here, we'll start to add in some movement. So bring your hands onto your knees or anywhere at all and start to press the spine back behind you. Really rounding. And then inhale, press the chest, heart forwards, look up to the sky. Exhale, pressing back. Inhale, forwards. Just keep moving like this at your own pace. From here, start to take some big old circles, sending your chest all the way forwards, all the way backwards. You've taken circles in one direction, take some in the opposite. And then slowly coming back through center, spine stretching tall. On an inhale, reach the right arm up, bring the right hand to your left ear, and invite the head to fall over to the right. Your right shoulder might kind of squish up near your ear. See if you can let it drop down. Then I'm going to crawl my left hand out to the left and just start to press through the palm. Feeling some length through that entire left side of the neck. And then from here, start to just take some little circles with your hand. Really pressing through the palm the whole way. If you took those circles in one direction, take some in the opposite. And then start to make those circles bigger. Beautiful. If you took them in one direction, reverse. And then start to stretch that left arm straight out to the left. Check back in with the right shoulder. If it's scrunching up, let it release down. From here, you can start to slowly let that arm just float back behind you. It might not go very far. Each exhale, feeling the shoulder relax, the neck relax. Beautiful. Inhale, start to slide that arm back so it's stretching straight out to the left. And then exhale, release the arm. Release the right hand back down. And just keeping the head tilted, one last little move. Just gently start to rock the head side to side. Yeah. Especially at times where maybe we've been hauled up inside, that neck can start to hold a lot of that tension. Beautiful. On your next inhale, slowly lift the head back up. It's been tilted over for a while, so give yourself a moment. You can take some shrugs with your shoulders, move the neck around, whatever you need. And then start to reach the left arm up. Bring the left hand to your right ear. Allow the head to slowly fall to the left. Let that left shoulder release away from your ear. Start to crawl the right hand out to the right and press through the palm. Each exhale, allowing the shoulders to fall further away from the ears. And then pressing through the palm, start to take some little circles with the hand. Beautiful. Start to take some circles in the opposite direction. Relaxing that left shoulder. You can start to make the circles bigger. And then exhale, reverse directions. Perfect. From here, stretch that arm straight out, high-fiving the other side of the room. Slowly start to let that arm float back behind you. Each exhale, letting the shoulders relax more. Your right arm might not move very far back. That's okay. Feeling that opening through the front of the shoulder, the neck. And then inhale, slide that right arm back. And exhale, lower it down towards the ground. Release the left hand, the head still tilted. And just slowly rock the head forwards and backwards. Moving very slow, start to lift the head back to center. This side might feel different than the last. Take your time. That head was tilted for a minute. Roll out the shoulders, the neck, whatever you need. Cool. On an inhale, start to look upwards towards the ceiling. Exhale, look down. Inhale, up. Exhale down. Inhale up. And the final one, exhale, look down. Interlace all 10 fingers and just lightly place the hands on the back of the head. No need to press. Just let the weight of the arms do the work and gently rock the head side to side. Really nice. Release the head. Allow it to float back up. Shoulders relaxed. Beautiful. From here, roll forwards and find your way into your first tabletop position. You can always double up the mat underneath your knees or grab a blanket, anything else you might have lying around at home to bring underneath your knees for more cushion. So finding this really strong tabletop, lift the navel upwards towards the spine, press the hands down into the ground, and press your fingertips into the floor. You might feel your knuckles slowly lift just a smidge away from the ground. From here, begin to stretch the right leg straight back behind you. Press the right toes into the ground and press through the heel. You might feel that big stretch all across the back of the right calf. Breathing into this stretch. Excellent. From here, pressing your toes into the floor, pressing your hands into the ground. Press so much your left knee may start to lift off the ground. If it doesn't lift all the way up today, that's okay. Squeeze it up high. Hovering here. Feeling those lower abdominal muscles doing a lot of work. And from here, I'm going to take my left knee towards my left elbow. It doesn't have to come all the way to it. And then I'm going to take it towards the right. Towards the left. And then last one, towards the right. Bring it back to center and release both knees back to the ground. Find that nice strong tabletop. Shake it out. That was kind of our first hard thing. Sometimes getting into those first muscular things can be a little shocking. Start to stretch the left leg out. Press the left toes down into the ground and slowly press through the heel, keeping the navel lifting up towards the spine the whole time. Great. Pressing the hands into the ground, pressing the toes into the floor. Slowly begin to lift that right knee as high as it's going to lift today. Hovering, breathing. And then take that right knee towards the right elbow. And then take it over to the left. Beautiful. Take it to the right. And last one, over to the left. Exhale, release both knees back to the floor. Open your knees wide. Bring the big toes to touch and press your hips back. Child's pose. You can allow the elbows to bend. You can bring the forehead or either ear to the mat, but let that tension just release. On your next inhale, slowly begin to rise back up, finding that nice little tabletop. From here, once more, I'm going to stretch my right leg straight back behind me, but this time the toes are lifted. Check in. A lot of times your hips like to open out to the right. Internally rotate them so your hips point down to the ground. Press energy through the right heel. Keep the navel lifted up towards your spine. You can even bring your left hand onto the low belly. That'll help kind of just invite it to lift up. Then if you've lifted that left hand up, bring it back to the floor. From here, I'm gonna bend into my right knee, pull my right knee towards the outside of my right elbow, bringing it up high. Hovering. And then I'm gonna release my right foot to the outside of my right wrist. Yeah, so it's just coming to the inside here. Your hands can be on the ground. They can also always be onto anything black-like. I'm just gonna tilt a little bit so you're able to see me. Yeah. From here, the option to crawl that left knee a little bit further back if you've got the space. Slowly start to send your hips down and forwards. Plant your left hand. You can plant it onto the ground or onto a block. And inhale, start to sweep the right arm up, peeling the chest, open to the right. Press the chest forwards. You can let that top arm open up. Your gaze can be anywhere, but really keep that neck long. On an exhale, thread the right arm underneath the right leg. Inhale, fingertips, reach back up and back. Exhale, thread under the right. Inhale, stretch the arm up and back. And last one, exhale, thread. Inhale, rise up, arm floats back. And then on an exhale, release the right hand back to the inside of your right leg. Press your hands into the ground. Feel the shoulder blades lift up. So the shoulder blades are like lifting upwards towards the ceiling. And from here, I'm going to tuck my back toes and lift the back knee up. So here you might be starting to feel a lot of work happening in the arms. From here, I'm going to slowly send my shoulders forwards over my wrists. You'll see how I lift, my heel is coming on top of my toes. And then exhale, press the heel back towards the back of the room. Inhale, slowly press forwards, keeping those fingertips pressing into the ground so your knuckles are lifted up slightly. Exhale, press back. One more round. Inhale, forwards. And exhale, press back. Inhale, come back just through that center. And exhale, release the knees down to the floor. From here, crawl your right foot to the inside of your right leg. And we're just going to get a little bit more stretch going on, a little counter stretch. So crawl your hands back, crawl your hips back, flex the toes back. Oftentimes when we come here, I'll often see people send their hips way back, but this actually isn't getting as much into the front of the leg. So if you keep your hips stacked on top of your knee, you can send that front foot more forwards for a deeper stretch. Keep your chest, heart reaching forwards. Beautiful. Then start to bend back into that front leg. Send your hips forwards. And from here, tuck your back toes, lift the back knee up, pull that front leg back to meet with your back, finding plank. Your knees can be lowered or lifted, whatever feels good here. Slowly send your shoulders forwards over your wrists. And exhale, bend into the elbows. Slowly lower everything down to the ground. One day, everything reaches at the same time. If that's not today, it's okay. Untuck the toes, press the tops of the feet into the floor. Shoulders roll back and down. Inhale, lift the chest, heart up just a little bit. This is our first back bend of class. Who knows, maybe the first back bend of the day. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up. Option to come up a little bit higher. Each exhale, see if you can just kind of let go of those glutes. Relax into this back bend. Exhale, lower back down. One more. Inhale, lift up. You can come up a little higher. If up dog is in your practice, that's available. And then from here, on an exhale, just press straight back to child's pose. On your next inhale, gliding back forwards, finding that tabletop. We're taking the same thing the other side, so you already know where we're going. I find that can be helpful. When I just know where I'm going, things get a little bit easier. Pressing your hands into the ground, shoulder blades apart. Start to send the left leg straight back behind you. Once again, if that hip is opening out to the left, spin it to point down to the ground. You can use your right hand to lift the low belly up. Really pressing energy through the left heel. And then slowly begin to bend into the knee. Send the left knee towards the outside of your left shoulder, lifting it up high, hovering. And then exhale, release the foot to the outside of your left wrist. You can use your hands, whatever you need to get there. It doesn't have to be super graceful. Your hands can be on the ground. They can be on anything block-like. If you've got this space, you can also wiggle your right knee a little bit further back behind you to give you some space. Plant your right hand onto the ground or a block, and inhale, sweep the left arm up. You can start to let that arm float back behind you. Let the chest press forwards. And then exhale, thread the left arm underneath the left leg. Inhale, fingertips reach up and back. Exhale, thread. Inhale, up and back. And the last one, exhale, thread. Inhale, up and back. Hovering here, allowing that arm to float back. The chest to press forwards. Check in if you're like kind of dumping into that right shoulder. Can you press so that that right arm, the right shoulder, it's all one straight long line. And then exhale, release the left hand to the inside of that left leg. Planting both hands on the ground, start to tuck your back toes. Slowly lift the back knee up. If you want to keep that back knee lowered for balance, that's always fine too. You're pressing your hands into the ground so much your shoulder blades start to peel apart. And then from here, we're just going to work on those little bitty pulses. So you'll send your shoulders forwards over your wrists. The back heel comes on top of your back toes. It's a small movement, but your arms will be feeling a lot of stuff. Exhale, press back. Inhale, forwards. Exhale, press back. One more round. Inhale, forwards. And exhale, press back. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, release your right knee to the floor. Start to crawl your left hand to the outside of the left leg. And then slowly send the hips back, finding that little counter stretch in your front leg. The toes flex back. Your left hip presses back as your right hip pulls forward so that your hips are in one line. Stretch your chest, heart forwards towards your toes. And then exhale, hinging at the hips. On your next inhale, crawl the hands back forwards. Tuck your back toes. Lift the back knee up. Start to pull your front leg back to meet your back, finding plank or supported plank. Slowly send your shoulders forwards over your wrists. And exhale, lower everything towards the floor, elbows tucked in. Beautiful. Untuck the toes. We're going to take 3 of those back bends once more. We'll take them a little quicker this time. Inhale, lift up, come up, your comfortable edge. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. And last one, inhale up. And exhale, press straight back to child's pose. Everything just melting into the ground here. And then inhale, glide forwards back to that tabletop. Step your hands forwards. Tuck the toes, lift the knees up, start to press your hips back and stretch the legs in the direction of straight, finding your first downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet, shake out your head. And then look forwards towards your hands. Walk, step, or lightly hop the feet forwards, finding a standing forward fold. You can have as much bend in your knees as you'd like. Your feet can be as far apart as feels comfortable. Let your head, your neck hang loose. Your weight rocks forwards in your toes. You can grab for opposite elbows here and just gently sway. On an exhale, release your fingertips back down to the floor. On an inhale, halfway lift, fingertips come to the shins, shoulders roll back and down. Rock the weight forwards in your toes. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, lift up. Exhale, mountain pose. So here we are in mountain pose, shoulders relaxed down, spine stretching tall. Beautiful. We're gonna get a little bit more of that low back strengthening. I don't know about you guys, but when I spend too much time at home or on my phone, I really round out, whereas we want to get a little bit of that back bending, some of that strengthening. So on an inhale, reach your fingertips up to the ceiling. Lift the lungs up towards the sky. Plant your left foot and your right toes can step back behind you. You can have your toes on the floor for balance, or if you're feeling balanced here, your toes can lift up. You might already be feeling some of that back bending, some of that strengthening in the glutes, in all those muscles around the low back. On an exhale, tap the right toes, just barely to touch the floor, not taking weight. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Last one, exhale, tap. Inhale, lift up, hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On an exhale, I'm going to release my right foot, but I'm going to cross my right foot behind the left. So I've kind of got this like little cross of the feet. Beautiful. If you need to maneuver your feet in any way to find your balance, go for it. On an exhale, I'm going to hinge at my hips and just find a forward fold. In this forward fold, you might notice a little bit of a stretch on the outside of the hips with your feet crossed here. Just kind of breathe into that. Keep weight rocking in your toes. On an inhale, start to stretch your chest, heart forwards. Your hands can be on the ground. If you happen to have blocks or anything black leg handy and you want to use it, go for it.
On an inhale, I'm going to stretch my right leg straight back behind me. Yeah, we've been balancing for a minute. That left leg might be feeling some stuff. Just acknowledge it. Really pressing through that right heel. And then exhale, I'm going to start to release my right toes far back behind me. Setting up for a crescent lunge. You can move your left foot more to the left if you're feeling at all imbalanced. At any point, if you want to lower that back knee to the floor, that's also an option. From here, you can start by bringing your hands onto your hips and slowly rising up. Also, feel free to use furniture if you got anything near you. Maybe a wall can be helpful here. Press your left hip back, right hip pulls forwards. Bring just a little bend in that back knee to scoop the tailbone under. Yeah, we've been building up to this pose. That left leg might be feeling a whole lot of stuff by this point in class. See if you can get a little wild. Can you sink just a little bit deeper in that front leg? Inhale, reach the fingertips upwards towards the ceiling. And here we're going to get one last big opening across the front of that chest. So on an exhale, bend in the elbows, lift the chest, the heart up. You might even feel a little bit of a back bend. We're going to hover here. Awesome. Inhale, start to stretch both arms straight, both legs straight. Exhale, release your hands back down to the floor or to blocks. We're going to get a counter stretch. That front leg's been doing a lot of work. Hop your right foot just about halfway forwards to set up for pyramid. You want your right toes pointed up towards the top right corner, and you've got maybe 2.5 to 3 feet between your legs. Kind of just depends on your own hips, whatever feels good. From here, on an inhale, I'm going to reach my chest, heart forwards. I'm going to press my left hip up and back. My right hip pulls down and forwards. And then exhale, fold forwards to your comfortable edge. You can always have a little bend in that front knee if you would like. We'll just take one last option. I'm going to lift my back heel away from the floor, and I can just gently rock some weight forwards and backwards, lifting and lowering my front toes, back heel, really getting a big stretch through the back of the left leg. The next time your front toes lower to the floor, step your back foot forwards and find a standing forward fold. You might feel a big difference between each leg. Just kind of notice that. Just hang out here. See what's going on. On an exhale, releasing the fingertips to the ground. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And inhale, reach up, lift up. And exhale, mountain pose. Taking a moment in this mountain pose, that was a pretty long sequence on one side. Feel any changes on that side. Cool. And we're going to start to set up back for that spine strengthening. So begin to plant your right foot into the ground. Your left toes can step back behind you, and the toes can be on the floor for balance. Reach the fingertips up to the ceiling. Lift the lungs, the gaze to the sky. Your left toes can always stay on the floor for balance. This might feel just like the perfect place to be, or start to lift the toes away from the earth. Exhale, tap the left toes, just barely, not taking any weight. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap. Inhale, up. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift up. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On an exhale, cross that left foot behind the right. So you're just literally crossing it behind. Your legs are crossed. Maneuver your legs in any way that you need to find your balance. And then exhale, fold forwards. Let the weight rock into your toes. Take just a moment. Feel that it's pretty slight, but there might be a little opening on the outsides of the hips. On your next inhale, reach your chest, heart forwards. Your hands can be on the ground or a block. And then inhale, start to stretch that right leg or that left leg straight back behind you. Finding that standing split. Once again here, sometimes our hips like to open out to the left. Can you keep it spinning so it points down to the ground? It probably means the leg won't lift as high. That's okay. And then exhale, release the left toes far back behind you. So you want that foot far enough back that the back heel is on top of your back toes. You're sinking deeply into that front knee. At any point, if the back knee wants to come to the ground for balance, let that happen. You can also move your right foot more to the right to give yourself a little more space. Bring your hands onto your hips and inhale, slowly start to lift up, come up. The right hip presses back, left hip pulls forwards, slight bend in the back knee to scoop the tailbone under. Feeling all that action happening in that right leg. We've taken some long balances, some longer holds. Reach the fingertips up to the ceiling, the lungs, the gaze lift upwards. And then exhale, bend in the elbows, lift the chest, the heart up, sink low. See if you can even bend a little deeper into that right leg. Inhale, stretch both arms straight, stretch that front leg towards straight. And exhale, release the hands down to the floor or to blocks and step that left foot just about halfway forwards to set up for that pyramid lunge. Your left toes point towards the top left corner. Stretch your chest, heart forwards. Press your right hip up and back. Left hip pulls down and forwards. Every exhale, finding a little more space. Beautiful. The last addition onto this leg stretch, you can lift that back heel away from the floor and just gently rock some weight forwards and backwards, lifting and lowering your front toes, back heel. And you can play around with the space between your feet, spreading them further apart might feel good. Spreading them closer together might feel a little bit more intense. The next time your front toes come to the ground, stay there. Step your back foot forwards. Standing forward fold. Everything hanging loose. We started out class with a lot of great neck stretching. We're just going to come back to that. So interlace all 10 fingers. And from here, I'm going to bring the hands to the back of my head. So they're actually on my head, not on my neck. And then I'm going to squeeze my forearms around my jawline. and just allow the weight of the arms to do the work. Keep your weight rocking in your toes, and you might feel that just nice light decompression. On your next exhale, release the hands back down to the floor. Hands come to the ground. Slowly crawl the feet back to downward facing dog. If a chaturanga is in your practice and you'd like to take another one, go for it. Otherwise, on an inhale, bring the knees to the ground. And exhale, press hips back, child's pose. On your next inhale, slowly rising back up. Finding your way back to that tabletop that we were at a few times at the beginning of class. From here, I'm going to stretch my right leg out to the right. Your toes can point towards the right or straight forwards, whatever feels better on your ankle. And then on an inhale, start to bring your hands up onto your hips. Great. So we've really gotten a lot of opening through the chest, through the neck here today. We're just going to finish off with a little bit more lengthening in the side and getting a bit into those obliques. So I'm going to interlace my fingers and just bring my hands behind the back of the head. Start to stretch the head tall, stretch the neck tall. I like to actively press both my hands into my head and my head into the hands. So there's a little bit of resistance happening. Start to press your right foot actively down into the ground. Your left toes can be flat or tucked, whatever feels more balanced. And then on an exhale, I'm going to start to tilt over towards the right, really rooting my left knee into the ground, feeling that length on the left side, that crunching into the right. Inhale, rise back up. And this time as you rise up, see if you can start to tilt a little bit more to the left, keeping that right foot rooting into the floor, only going as far as you can keep the right foot rooting down. Inhale, up. Exhale, tilt. Inhale, up. And then exhale, slowly start to just keep going just a little bit more than feels comfy. Inhale, back up. Exhale, tilt. Maybe each tilt you find just a tiny bit more space along that left side of the body. Inhale, up. Lengthening. And exhale, find that little edge. Inhale, up. Exhale, tilt. This time we're going to stay here in this tilt. You can release your right hand, start to reach the right hand down the right leg, and then you can start to stretch that left arm up and across the left ear. You might feel that length all the way from the left fingertips down to that left knee. Notice sometimes our chest likes to kind of tilt down to the ground. Peel it open towards the ceiling. Stretch the neck long. And then inhale, begin to rise back up. Release both hands back to the ground and work your way back to that tabletop. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I feel a whole lot more length just on that left side. Kind of move anything around, feel the difference. Great. As you're ready, start to stretch the left leg to the left, toes pointing anywhere that feels comfortable on your ankle. and slowly begin to rise up. From here, interlacing your fingers once again. I can't remember, but if you're able to remember, you can try to bring opposite fingers on top, kind of switch it up a little bit. Actively press your head into your hands into your head, stretching tall. Then check in with that left foot rooted into the ground. Beautiful. On an exhale, we're going to slowly start to tilt over towards the left. You know where we're going. Actively feel that right knee root into the floor, feeling that length from the right knee out the right elbow. And then inhale, rise back up. And exhale, it might be a small movement. Start to just lean over to the right, keeping that left foot rooting into the floor. Inhale, back up, lengthening. Exhale, tilt. Inhale, back up. Exhale, slowly lean towards the right, left foot roots. Inhale up. Exhale, tilt left. See if you can find a little more length. Inhale up. Exhale over towards the right, only as far as that left foot can stay planted. Last one, inhale up. Exhale over to the left. From here, release your left hand, send it down the left leg, and start to reach that right arm up and across the right ear. Relaxing the shoulder, peeling the chest open towards the ceiling. Inhale, slowly rise back up. Exhale, release both hands back down to the ground. Find that tabletop once more. Shimmy, shake, move stuff around. And then exhale, release back, child's pose. Here in this child's pose, we'll get one last little side stretch. Just lift up onto your fingertips. And then crawl your hands over to the right and keep that left hip pressing back and down. Head hangs loose. From here, begin to crawl your hands over to the left. Right hip presses back and down. Begin to crawl hands back to center. And then inhale, slowly lift up, come up, and swing the legs around forwards in front. Whew. You can use your hands, remove any flesh from the sitting bones. Use your fingertips to stretch the spine nice and tall. And then from here, I'm going to cross my right leg over the left. So I've just got like a little figure 4 shape. Stretching the spine tall. Flex the left toes back towards your body. And then on an exhale, you can begin to slowly hinge at your hips. You don't have to hinge far at all. If you've got more space, your hands can crawl forwards. You can use the weight of your right arm to press that right knee down. You don't want to force it, but you can like let the weight just kind of do the work. Option to reach towards your shin, ankle, or your foot is present as well. Great. From here, your right hand, wherever it is reaching, just reach it forwards. If you're able to grab the pinky edge of that right foot, grab for it, but it can reach anywhere else on your right side, all good. From here, I'm going to take my left hand, start to crawl it open towards the left, stretch my spine taller, and just open up to the left. So here you might be feeling a little bit of a spinal twist and a nice big stretch all along the outside of that left leg. Actively keep that right knee pressing down. If you've got a ton of space, you can take your left hand and start to wrap it around your back, finding a little half bind. Cool. Starting to peel back through center. We're going to take the same thing the other side. So I'm going to take my left hand, reach it forwards anywhere on the leg or to the inside edge of that left foot. The right hand comes back behind me, stretch tall. Begin to twist. Option for that little half bind, bringing my right hand towards the outside of my right or my left hip. If you're super flexy, one day you might even be able to pull that right foot forwards and grab for your toes. I'm not quite feeling that today, but if you are, go for it. Awesome. Slowly come back to center, unwind the legs, shimmy, shake it out. Bring your hands back behind you about 4 or 5 inches. Press the hands into the ground. Lift the chest, heart up to the ceiling. You can look up, you can look back. Inhale, lifting back up to center, and we'll switch sides. So cross that left leg over the right. Flex both sets of toes back. Stretch your spine tall. And then exhale, hinge. Your hands can come anywhere that feels like a nice comfy edge. On your next inhale, reach forward. Your left hand can reach anywhere at all. Option to grab for the pinky edge of that right foot. Your right hand slowly begins to crawl back behind you. The spine starts to stretch straight. Slowly look over that right shoulder. Option for the right hand to come towards that little half bind situation. Inhale, start to twist back. We're going to switch, so reach the right hand forwards, grab anywhere on the leg or to the inside of your right foot. Your left hand starts to crawl back behind you, stretch tall, look over the left shoulder. Option to bring the left hand towards that little half bind, coming around towards your right hip. Inhale, come back through center. Unwind the legs. Shimmy, shake them out. Beautiful. From here, we're going to work our way towards our Savasana. If you'd like to lay down, take a traditional Savasana. Feel free. Do what feels good in your body. You also have the option to end the way we began in a seated meditative position. But listen to your body, whatever you're wanting. Get comfortable. This is your practice. Find any meditative position that feels good, and I'll call you back when it's time.
If you're ready to come back, deepen your breath. You can add movement to hands, feet, wrists, or ankles. On an inhale, reach the arms up overhead or squeeze knees into the chest. And then if you are lying down, work your way up to a comfortable seated position. Thank you, everyone, for spending this time here on your mats, sharing your light, your energy. Have a peaceful and productive rest of your Tuesday. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm also teaching a strength class tomorrow night, like a yoga for strength. So if you're feeling that you're wanting to get into that, check that out. So it's going to be tomorrow night and the following Wednesday as well. And please let me know if you have any questions.